describe a time when somebody gave them empathy or a time where somebody did not give them empathy. And then the next circle, I asked them to talk about a person that they feel that they should have more empathy for. So as opposed to first have them get in their own head to think about, how do people treat me? Because all the kids can complain about somebody who didn't see them or didn't give them empathy. But then push them to think about, like, who can you have empathy for? Maybe you're not giving people empathy.
Just share us on that, because we do have crew and we do a lot of team building activities there. But I definitely think if there's a way to incorporate into class, because as a quick side note, I haven't been in the same teams every single class as freshmen. I change it. But I think by doing that, I close their relationships off from other teams. So now I'm trying to think of what can I do together.
I just put as one of Asim's next steps just on those slides.
I was going to say, can you remind me?
Yep.
Can you put it in the notes? Thank you.
Yep, it's in the notes. Yeah. All right, I want to move us on to Julia's video before Julia and Jamie get kicked out of their schools. So take a second to pull up Julia's video of this lovely gallery walk. And then Julia, whenever you're ready, you can share why you picked this video. And any additional context you want us to
know. I picked this video because where happened to our group? I filmed a couple of times, and Danny got this cool mic system, but then we learned it didn't work. So I have a bunch of film where you can't hear anything. And then also one time I got it working, and the group was, if you want a video on off-text behavior, I have that half an hour of it. They, at the end of it, they were like, oh, did you need this for something? And, often the kids are like, oh, I said something stupid on the video. And I was like, it's fine. And then I watched it. I was like, that wasn't fine. Anyway, so this is what I had. Okay, so I thought of it after reading your comments, Geetha. I'm thinking about it completely differently than I did before I posted it to you all.
Okay.
I mean, before I saw your comments. Before I saw your comments, I was thinking that it seemed like an okay representation of teamwork. I felt like the team was mostly doing what I asked and talking about the posters and had some good ideas and kind of whatever ideas. But I was kind of hoping, so this is I put the description in the notes, but it's my Algebra 2 class. It's the first time I'm teaching it, and they're all the kids in the class are advanced in some way, and that's, I've never taught a class like that before, and it's very rare at our school to have it. So I'm a lot of times thinking about what does it mean to teach sort of an honors class? And also what are the personalities in the room when that happens? And also they mostly do what I say, so I could do a lot of experimentation and I'm sort of the opposite of you, Jamie, thinking about it more in terms of if I had the perfect scenario, what kinds of things do I want kids to be doing and how can I make that happen? So I feel I wish that they were having deeper conversations than they were. But then I read your comments and I feel I know the kids, so I don't see it as easily. And Mia is a really dominant personality, and I've learned since this video that she has conflict with a lot of other students, and particularly there's a cadre of really high-strung white girls, and they all sort of get at each other, and Deirdre, who's filming, is another one of them. I think the only reason she's not talking that much is because she's filming.
Okay.
So I asked her, she had the mic on herself, and then I asked her to walk around the room with it. So I think she was just distracted by holding the camera. So she wasn't really talking. But she would have otherwise. And so now I'm interested in all of that. And also Genesis is a freshman and the other 3 kids are sophomores. And, but she seems like a really high achieving, ambitious freshman. so it's interesting that you were like seeing her as getting shut down all the time. Cause like I
That's interesting.
don't see her that way. I don't know if I said anything.
No, that's like, yeah, that's super helpful. And I want to say, like, my comments were not intended in any way to say, like, this was a bad group work thing. Like, it was just interesting dynamics, especially given that overall, like, they were doing what you asked and they were, like, noticing interesting things. And, like, I think it deepened their mathematics for sure, that activity for all of them. But it was just interesting to see how they interacted.
No, and I want to talk about, like, I mean that in terms of, I was like, oh my God, what have I done?
Okay, good. Asim or Jamie, do you have other questions about the context?
I did have a question. Can you quickly, like, I just referred to people like the girl wearing the red shirt. Can you tell us who's who real quick?
Yeah, so the person holding the camera's name is Deirdre. The girl who does most of the talking and is writing on the Post-its is Mia. Genesis is the other girl, and she's the only person of color in that group. And then Henry is the boy who doesn't say anything.
Thanks.
I only knew their names because they were all on the poster at the end.
I was wondering how you figured that out.
Yeah, I paused the video to make sure I got them all.
I always see you commenting names. I'm like, who is she referring to? I just say like,
oh, sorry.
Big overachiever. My God.
I thought you could read minds.
No.
I guess, how have you done a gallery walk in this unit before? Is this their first time doing it?
It's the first one, yeah. Is that true? Yeah, that was true. That was the first one.
Can I just say that when I first watched it, I was like, wow, I want to be in this math class. That was I was like, I want to be in here.
Well, that's a good transition to strengths and highlights. Julia, you should start though.
Oh, just another thing about it. It was a 3-day, it was the end, I think I wrote this in the thing, but it was the end of a 3-day task. And one of the things I was really excited about my Algebra 2 class is that like I just feel like I have time and like, I'm like, I can do this thing for 3 days and we can end with a gallery walk on it, which like I don't feel the same way in my geometry class. So that, I don't know, I was just excited about that. What we're saying. Yeah, I mean, I guess I sort of said it all in the beginning when I was supposed to be saying context, but I feel like they were mostly doing what I was asking them to, and they like had some good moments of like connection about what was happening, and yeah.
Asim and Jamie, what do you want to add? Asim, why did you want to be in that class?
I think that I could tell that the kids had so many insights, and I could tell that they had so much understanding of I'm curious also about the 3-day task, so I guess going back to context, I want to ask about the 3-day task that you did before this, but I also I felt like they had so much content knowledge coming into this, and I felt like for kids to be able to do multiple representations so fluidly, I think, and then evaluate them feels like such a high level skill for me to try to get my kids to get to. And I just think this is the kind of discussion I want my kids to be having. I want them to be able to evaluate multiple representations. And I think I was also just really, impressed with the work that was on the posters. So even just put the group work aside, just looking at what was on the posters.
Yeah.
I mean, from notation to graphical representations to tables, everything was impressive.
Yeah. Amy, what did you notice?
Over here because I'm looking at my other computer that has some big.
So I'll add to that. Well, I want to start by saying I love that you had a student record like that. I feel like she felt this sense of responsibility, and she wanted to make sure she did it right. There was this is the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
I know, that was so funny.
In my entire life.
You have to be kidding me.
And I was like, oh my gosh, how much pressure. But I love that she felt that responsibility and that your students were able to do that for you. I was like, that would
Is Deirdre always that dramatic?
No, I don't know where she came up with that. It's like, okay, I guess your life has been really easy.
They were like real. There was like